Is this Arkansas spree killer responsible for two more murders? This man, Lloyd Foster, has already been convicted of two murders in Arkansas that happened in 2017, but cold case detectives in Little Rock have charged him with two more murders. The two murders that Lloyd Foster has already been convicted of, plus the two murders that he has now been charged with, all happened in August 2007. So it seemed like it all started on August 13th, 2007. On that date, on West 16th Street in Little Rock, a man named Darren Jackson was murdered. Darren Jackson was just 26 years old when he was standing on his own front porch around 7 p.m. on the 13th. A man approached him and demanded money from him. Now, Darren Jackson was like, "I'm not giving you any money." And the man with the gun started firing shots at him. He fired 6 or 7 shots at him. Darren Jackson tried to run away from the man, and the man ran behind him and shot him 4 more times in his carport area. According to witnesses, the suspect left the scene in a silver four-door car. While Lloyd Foster did not have a silver four-door car, his girlfriend did, and the day after the murder, she called police to tell them that he had used her vehicle, which was a 2006 gray Ford Taurus, about 5 p.m. that day. She also told police that the next time she saw him, he had blood on his jeans and threw them away in a trash can at a Shell gas station on 12th Street. Police were able to get those jeans, and DNA testing confirmed that the blood belonged to the victim. Lloyd Foster was arrested in this case and charged with first-degree murder. Now, in August 2008, he had a jury trial, and it took jurors only 10 minutes to come back with a guilty verdict. He was sentenced to life in prison. Toward the end of August 2007, a 31-year-old man named Waverly Jones was working at a convenience store when he was gunned down. Now, police do believe that Waverly Jones was killed during a holdup, but more interesting to the point, according to other workers, other employees at that convenience store, a man who identified himself as Chestnut came to the store 2 times prior to Waverly Jones showing up for work and asked specifically for Waverly Jones. Lloyd Foster was charged with capital murder in that crime in May 2010. Now, by that point, he was already in prison for that murder that happened mid-August 2007. So I don't think that they were in a big hurry to charge him with this crime. He did deny being involved in the crime, but eventually he took a plea deal. He pled guilty to first-degree murder and was sentenced to 18 years in prison. Between the murder of Darren Jackson and the murder of Waverly Jones, there was a double murder that took place that went unsolved for many years. This latest case involves the murders of 57-year-old Lawrence Walls and 45-year-old Dwight Jones. These murders happened on August 25th, 2007. They occurred at the home of Lawrence Walls. Police were called to 3420 West 10th Street about shots being fired. Now, when they got to the home, they found Dwight Jones sitting in a chair on the front porch of this home. He was sitting to the right of the door. He had been shot twice in the head. To the left of the door, Lawrence Walls was sitting on a porch swing. He had also been shot several times in the head. Not only had he been shot, but his pockets to his pants had been turned inside out. His wallet was laying in the yard. He had money laying at his feet, like someone had pulled cash out of his pockets or out of his wallet and dropped them on their way leaving the scene. Now, it doesn't say that. That would just be my assumption that that's what happened. His car had also been stolen. Lawrence Walls told police 3 weeks before his murder that a man came into his home and shot him, and he thought that this man was Lloyd Foster. He said that he saw Foster out in his yard, and he thought Lloyd Foster was waiting to ambush him. Other people who were interviewed by police said that they saw Lloyd Foster in the vicinity of the murders before the murders actually took place. One of them even called Lawrence Walls and told Lawrence that Lloyd Foster was in the neighborhood so that Lawrence Walls could avoid him because Lloyd was obviously a dangerous person. These murders, like I said, happened back in August of 2007, and Lloyd Foster is just now being charged with 2 counts of capital murder in these murders. So, I don't know why they have decided to charge him at this point, whether new evidence has come forward, new witnesses have came forward, or they just finally feel like they have enough to charge him. I have mixed feelings about charging people who are already in murder with murders without hard evidence because, like, it's kind of difficult to explain where I'm going. So I will try though. If he is already serving a life sentence, he doesn't have anything to lose, and it would be nothing really for him to say, oh, yeah, I committed these murders too, and then to pack those two murders on top of what he's already done. He's not going to get any more time. As long as he's not getting the death penalty, he's going to be in prison for the long haul. And I just would want to make sure that they have like hard evidence, like DNA evidence or an actual witness or something like that, to ensure that they're not just pinning this murder on someone who's already in prison, which I'm sure that they do. It's just that's what I always think about whenever I think about people who are already in prison for murder being charged with additional murders. If you understand what I'm saying, if I don't know if I'm making myself clear. And like, I am sure that they have done their due diligence. Obviously, they've been working on this cold case for some years. I would just be interested to see what it was that was finally the turning point in getting Lloyd Foster charged. Now, Lloyd Foster has a long history of violent crimes. Let's go through that list. So Lloyd started off strong in 1981 when he was around 18 years old, when he was charged with second-degree battery, first-degree battery, burglary, theft of property, and 4 counts of aggravated robbery. And as you can see, he was sentenced to some years for that: 20 years, 3 years, 50 years, 2 years, 35 years, 25 years, 25 years, 25 years. Then he was back in trouble in 1996, where he got charged with another second-degree battery. Obviously, the man likes violence, right? He got 8 years for that. And then 2008, he was in for life, plus the 18 years that he got for murder again in 2011. And also, I think we all have to admit that the crime, the unsolved murders of Mr. Walls and Mr. Jones, both mimic the other 2 crimes that he was already convicted of, right? They both are over money. They're both, all 4 involving money, all 4 involving robbery, right? And that's obviously something that he likes. He has a history of that. Also, they all 4 involve a firearm. That's very similar. So, like I said, he was just charged on Friday with these 2 counts of capital murder. We'll see where this goes. If it is an additional conviction, if he gets convicted of capital murder, he could very well face the death penalty, or he could sit in prison for the rest of his life, which he's already doing, right? Now, a lot of people say 3 or more murders, that's a serial killer. Yes, it is, but these 4 murders happened in 1 month's time, and that is more the definition of a spree killer. So I think that he is probably very well a spree killer. I would wonder what happened in August 2007 that set him off, or if there are additional murders that he could possibly be guilty of that he's just not been charged with yet. What do you think?